Episode 4 of the Dad Group and 100% Dad. This one's about that I think Dad's got to always be learning and improving. Always reading, always looking to do better. And reading's a big part of that. In my life, reading's a big part of that. There's so many books on so many topics. But it's also important not to believe everything we read. We do need to use our brains and actually have an independent thought every now and then, and use our family values as well to decipher what's right and what's wrong. And listen, not everyone's a reader. It's easier for some than others. I've got ADHD like on steroids. You don't know how many times this has been interrupted with a thought that just goes crazy. I just zoned out, for 5 minutes thinking about my ADHD. I like reading. I enjoy it. Unfortunately, when I read, I get really into it, and I read for 2 straight days. I'll be up to 4 or 5 a.m. reading, and I have to be up at 5 a.m. and go to work. It's not really conducive long term, but I'm not one of those people that can read 20 minutes a day or an hour a day or anything like that. It drives me crazy. I like reading, I enjoy it, but I'd rather stay up to 4 a.m. reading and finish the book and then stretch it, where my wife can't do that. She has to stretch it out over 6 months, and that drives me crazy. I can't do it. But I'm weird, and I get it. I'm super weird. Most of what I read is nonfiction, so it's usually kind of boring stuff, with the occasional fiction book thrown in when my brain needs a break. I'm always craving to know something, and I feel almost inadequate in that sense. There's just so much I don't know, so much I'm just ignorant to. And I know I'll never know or ever need to know or be able to read everything, but I do have a thirst kind of to consume it all. And sometimes it's just not possible, because I have one of those things. What are they called? A life. I have bookshelves filled with books I've read, and some I can't read. Sometimes the author is just really freaking boring, or the content just leaves me uninterested. Point is, we just need to expand our horizons. And however you do that, it's not for me to judge or even tell you what to do. I like to read. Reading's good. Maybe you like documentaries. Maybe you're a website researcher. Maybe you maybe you're more of a hands-on learner. Maybe you like going to shows, museums, classes, etc. I don't know. Frankly, I don't even care. Just strive to improve and learn and challenge your brain. It doesn't matter how you do it. When your brain works, it opens up all sorts of lanes for thoughts. Sitting around watching cartoon reruns doesn't exactly inspire anyone to create a business, to invent a gadget, to fix a family dynamic, improve their relationships, or find a way to help the community. Whatever knowledge you're consuming, of all the content I absorb, everything comes with a grain of salt. I find a point to make sure I don't get sucked into the cult of any one person. I'm looking to use my very large brain and pull out the content that is good and reject the content that's not good. Deciphering what content is right and wrong or relevant is an internal thought process, and you have to know what your values are, where your moral boundaries lay. And we get into this later. I have this whole thing laid out, and you have to have these things known. You have to know where your moral boundaries are. You got to know your values. And life experience plays a major factor in deciding what to believe and what to reject, and how you were raised obviously plays a huge role. Some of the stupidest decisions in history were made by very, very smart people. They just didn't have everything thought. They didn't have their moral boundaries set. They were willing to cross it in the name of something else. And when you can just sit there and say, hey, we don't cross X, this is the line in the sand, we don't cross it, it makes decision making so much easier. And that's the reason we want to be continuously learning and improving. The more perspective we have, the more insight we have. And I got to change the page. And that's the reason we want to be continuously learning and improving. The more perspective we have, the more insight we have, the harder our brain works. And we naturally just get better at our decision making. And can you imagine if you compound that generation over generation over generation? Thanks for listening to my thoughts on being a dad that is always learning and expanding his horizons, but not drinking the Kool-Aid. And can I add, if anyone out there is asking for a bunch of money to teach you or enroll you into their program, I'm not saying don't do it, but it is 2019. There's a lot of free or less expensive information out there. And I put myself in one of those, I can't believe I'm gonna say this out loud. I put myself in one of those $25,000 programs a few years ago, several years ago. Although some information was good, it wasn't $25,000 good. Comment below. I'm listening to those comments. Feel free to submit stories and thoughts to Townsend at Russell or Townsend at townsendrussell.com. And of course, find us everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, podcasts, and our website. I'm Townsend Russell with the Dad Group and 100% Dad. We're preaching over here for dads to step up, be real men, and real leaders of their homes. Thanks for watching.